On January 28, 2025, former President Donald Trump publicly called on SpaceX CEO Elon Musk to expedite the return of two NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, who had been aboard the International Space Station ISS since their launch in June 2023. Trump characterized their situation as a terrible oversight by the Biden administration, claiming they were virtually abandoned. This statement sparked confusion within the space community as NASA quickly contested the notion that the astronauts were stranded. Background and timeline of events. June 2023, Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore launched to the ISS aboard Boeing CST-100 Starliner spacecraft initially scheduled for an 8-day mission. However, complications arose when thruster issues were identified, leading to an extension of their stay. August 2023, after assessing safety risks, NASA opted to return the Starliner spacecraft without crew, which meant Williams and Wilmore would remain on the ISS for an extended period. December 2023, NASA announced plans for the astronauts to return aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft, initially targeting a return in early March 2024. This timeline was later adjusted to early April due to delays related to the Crew 10 mission. Trump's remarks. On January 28, 2025, Trump took to social media urging Musk to bring the astronauts back immediately. He labeled the situation as a significant failure of the Biden administration. Musk responded on X, formerly Twitter, confirming Trump's directive, which further fueled confusion as SpaceX had already been planning the astronauts' return. Trump later reiterated his request on Truth Social, emphasizing that Williams and Wilmore had been waiting for months to come home. However, neither Musk nor Trump provided further details on the logistics of the return. NASA's response. NASA officials quickly moved to clarify the situation, stating that Williams and Wilmore were not abandoned and could return to Earth at any time in case of an emergency. They highlighted that the extended duration of their mission was a decision based solely on operational needs rather than political influences. NASA also stressed that the astronauts were well prepared and adaptable to their extended stay. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson confirmed that political factors did not influence the decision to keep Williams and Wilmore on the ISS longer than initially planned. The agency maintained that both astronauts were satisfied with their time in space, with Wilmore and Williams expressing their professionalism and commitment to their duties. The nature of the return mission. While Trump and Musk's comments implied a sense of urgency and a rescue mission, NASA clarified that the return of Williams and Wilmore would be part of a routine crew rotation process rather than a desperate evacuation. The Crew Dragon spacecraft was scheduled to bring them back as part of NASA's long-term plans for crewed space missions. Despite the confusion, the space industry understood that SpaceX and NASA had been in close communication regarding the astronauts' status and planned return. The Crew 9 mission was expected to proceed, with the astronauts returning in early April 2025, barring any unforeseen complications. Conclusion. While intended to address what he perceived as a lapse in oversight, inadvertently created uncertainty and misinformation. NASA's prompt clarifications underscored the agency's commitment to transparency and operational integrity, ensuring that the astronauts' extended stay was understood as a managed decision rather than an abandonment. Overall, the situation reflects the intricate dynamics between politics, public perception, and the realities of space exploration, demonstrating how narratives can quickly shift and evolve in the face of public discourse. The situation surrounding the extended stay of NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore aboard the International Space Station ISS has revealed several counterintuitive aspects that challenge common perceptions about space missions' political influence and crisis communication. 1. Misconception of abandonment. The most striking counterintuitive point is the portrayal of the astronauts as virtually abandoned. While Trump's statements implied negligence by the Biden administration, NASA has clarified that Williams and Wilmore were never in any danger of being stranded. In fact, both astronauts have expressed satisfaction with their extended mission, which contradicts the idea that they were left in a precarious situation. This highlights a misunderstanding of how missions are managed and the professional resilience of astronauts in adapting to unexpected changes. 2. Operational versus political decision-making. Another counterintuitive element is the assertion that political dynamics influenced the decision to extend the astronauts' stay. Former NASA Administrator Bill Nelson emphasized that the decision to keep the astronauts on the ISS was based solely on operational needs rather than political considerations. This challenges the narrative that political factors are always at play in governmental decisions related to space missions, suggesting instead that technical and safety issues often take precedence. 3. Confusion over scheduled return versus rescue mission. The distinction between a scheduled crew rotation and a rescue operation is another area where public perception diverges from reality. Trump's characterization of the astronauts needing to be rescued implies an emergency situation, whereas NASA has labeled the upcoming Crew Dragon return as part of routine operations. This underscores a broader misunderstanding of how space missions are structured and the planning involved in astronaut rotations. For public perception of space exploration, the incident reflects a broader trend in public perception of space exploration where sensationalized narratives can overshadow the complexities of actual operations. The confusion created by Trump's statements and Musk's social media responses illustrates how easily misinformation can spread, leading to public anxiety about the safety of astronauts. This highlights the necessity for clear and consistent communication from agencies like NASA to manage public expectations and understanding. 5. Resilience of astronauts. The astronauts' own comments about their extended mission reveal a counterintuitive attitude towards what could be perceived as a negative situation. Instead of expressing frustration or concern about their prolonged stay, both Williams and Wilmore have indicated their professionalism and commitment to their duties. This contrasts sharply with the narrative of abandonment and reflects the training and mindset of astronauts who are prepared for the unexpected. 6. Role of private companies in space missions. The involvement of SpaceX in this situation raises questions about the role of private companies in government space missions. While SpaceX is often seen as a facilitator for NASA's goals, the situation illustrates that their operations are intricately linked with NASA's scheduling and mission planning. This relationship challenges the notion that private companies operate independently of governmental oversight and emphasizes the collaborative nature of modern space exploration. 7. Impact of social media on communication. The incident also highlights how social media can complicate communication around sensitive topics like astronaut safety. Trump's reliance on platforms like Truth Social and Musk's use of X to communicate updates created confusion rather than clarity. This scenario emphasizes the need for authoritative sources to manage narratives and ensure accurate information dissemination, especially in high-stakes environments like space missions. In summary, the incident surrounding the astronauts on the ISS underlines the complex interplay between public perception, operational realities, and political narratives in space exploration. It challenges assumptions about danger decision-making and the nature of space missions, advocating for a more nuanced understanding of these elements in the context of contemporary space travel. In the report regarding Donald Trump's comments about the 2 NASA astronauts aboard the International Space Station ISS, there are several critical elements that many may overlook which carry significant implications for the public understanding of space missions, political narratives, and the operational realities of NASA and SpaceX. 1. Miscommunication and public perception. The urgency expressed by Trump labeling the astronauts as virtually abandoned created a wave of confusion not only among the public but within the space community. This miscommunication highlights the fragility of public trust in governmental and commercial space operations. The perception of negligence by the Biden administration could have had detrimental effects on NASA's credibility, as it undermined the agency's narrative that the astronauts were not in a perilous situation. This incident serves as a reminder of how easily misinformation can spread in the age of social media, where statements can have immediate and far-reaching consequences. The significance lies in how public perception can shape policy and funding for future space exploration endeavors. 2. NASA's operational autonomy. NASA's repeated clarifications regarding the astronauts' status underscore the agency's operational autonomy and its commitment to safety protocols. The assertion that Williams and Wilmore could return at any time in an emergency illustrates the advanced contingency planning that is standard in space missions. This aspect is crucial as it reveals the depth of preparation and the strategic thinking involved in manned spaceflight, which may often go unnoticed by the general public. The significance here is twofold. It reinforces NASA's capabilities and conveys that operational decisions are scientific and technical rather than politically motivated. 3. Political context versus operational realities. The tension between political narratives and the realities of space operations is a recurring theme in this incident. Trump's comments can be interpreted as a strategic move to critique the Biden administration, yet NASA's leadership, including former Administrator Bill Nelson, firmly denied any political influence on mission decisions. This distinction is significant because it highlights the importance of separating operational decisions from political discourse, especially in a field that relies heavily on public funding and bipartisan support. Understanding this separation is vital for fostering a collaborative environment for future space missions, which often require long-term planning and investment. For impact on SpaceX and its leadership, Elon Musk's involvement in this situation is noteworthy, particularly in the context of his dual role as both a private business leader and a public figure influencing the narrative around space exploration. His confirmation of Trump's request could be seen as an attempt to align SpaceX with a sense of urgency, yet it also raises questions about the appropriateness of mixing corporate interests with national visibility. This intersection of business and public service is significant because it reflects broader trends in privatization and commercialization of space, and it can shape investor confidence and public support for future private-public partnerships in space exploration. 5. Astronauts' perspectives. The professional demeanor of Williams and Wilmore, who expressed comfort and contentment with their extended mission, is a crucial element that may be easily overlooked. Their adaptability and professionalism serve as a testament to the training and resilience of astronauts. This aspect is significant not just for public relations but for understanding the human element in space missions. Highlighting the experiences and views of astronauts can foster a more nuanced appreciation of the psychological and operational challenges they face, which is often sidelined in broader discussions about space missions. Overall, this incident encapsulates a multitude of themes that transcend mere miscommunication: the interplay between politics and science, the importance of public perception, and the complexities of operational decisions in space exploration. Recognizing these subtleties can enhance the public's understanding of and engagement with space endeavors, paving the way for a more informed discourse about the future of human spaceflight. 1. Miscommunication and confusion in public messaging. The incident highlights significant issues regarding communication within the space community and between political figures, especially during a tense political climate. Trump's public remarks about the astronauts being virtually abandoned created immediate confusion, leading to questions about the status of the astronauts and the operational plans already in place by NASA and SpaceX. This miscommunication underscores the importance of precise language in public discourse, particularly in high-stakes situations involving national interests and safety. 2. NASA's response and operational context. NASA's insistence that Williams and Wilmore were not abandoned is crucial in understanding the operational dynamics of space missions. The agency clarified that the astronauts were well prepared for their extended stay and could return at any time in case of an emergency. This point emphasizes the professionalism and adaptability of astronauts as well as NASA's commitment to safety and communication. The decision to extend their mission was based on operational needs rather than political influences, contrasting with the narrative suggested by Trump. 3. Political implications of space missions. Trump's comments reflect the intersection of politics and space exploration, raising questions about how political narratives can influence public perception of scientific endeavors. His criticisms of the Biden administration framed within a narrative of negligence, illustrate how space missions can become pawns in political discourse. The responses from NASA officials, including former Administrator Bill Nelson, emphasized the apolitical nature of operational decisions, suggesting a need for clear separation between space policy and political agendas. For planned return versus rescue operations, the distinction between a planned crew rotation and a rescue mission is significant in understanding the operational logistics of space travel. NASA's clarification that the return of Williams and Wilmore on a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft was part of a routine operation, not an emergency rescue, helps to demystify public misconceptions. This point is critical for maintaining trust in space agencies and commercial partners like SpaceX, reinforcing the idea that space travel is a complex endeavor guided by established protocols rather than chaotic responses to political pressure. 1. Apollo 13 1970. The Apollo 13 mission is one of the most famous examples of a space mission that experienced critical issues leading to a tense and dramatic rescue operation. After an oxygen tank exploded 2 days into the mission, the crew of 3 astronauts, Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert and Fred Hayes, was left with limited resources and a damaged spacecraft. NASA's ground control team worked tirelessly to devise a plan to bring the astronauts safely back to Earth. The mission was initially intended to land on the Moon, but instead became a fight for survival. The successful return of the crew was marked by the famous phrase, "Houston, we've had a problem," and it highlighted the importance of communication, teamwork, and problem-solving in space exploration. 2. Soyuz 11 1971. Soyuz 11 was a Soviet space mission that ended tragically when a cabin depressurization during re-entry claimed the lives of all 3 crew members, Georgy Dobrovolsky, Viktor Patsayev and Vladislav Volkov. They had previously spent 23 days aboard the Salyut 1 space station, a record at the time. The incident raised significant concerns about crew safety and led to major changes in the design of the Soyuz spacecraft, including the introduction of a pressured cabin for the crew during re-entry. This incident serves as a reminder of the risks involved in human spaceflight and the importance of safety protocols and communication, especially in emergency situations. 3. STS-107 Columbia disaster 2003. The Space Shuttle Columbia disaster occurred during the STS-107 mission, which was the 28th flight of the Space Shuttle program. The tragedy resulted in the loss of all 7 crew members upon re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. The disaster was attributed to damage sustained by the shuttle's thermal protection system during launch, caused by foam insulation that detached from the external tank. In the aftermath, investigations revealed significant flaws in NASA's communication and decision-making processes regarding safety concerns. The incident prompted widespread changes to improve safety protocols, risk management, and interagency communication, emphasizing the critical need for transparent and effective communication in high-stakes environments like space missions. The recent incident involving former President Donald Trump urging SpaceX to assist in the recovery of 2 NASA astronauts aboard the International Space Station ISS has highlighted several critical elements regarding space missions' political discourse and public perception. This situation serves as a lens through which we can predict future trends and implications in space exploration, communication, and political interactions. Predictions for the future. 1. Enhanced communication protocols. The confusion stemming from Trump's statements indicates a need for more robust communication protocols between space agencies, private companies, and government officials. In the future, we can expect an increased emphasis on transparent communication to prevent misinformation. Agencies like NASA may implement real-time updates and establish clear channels for public announcements to mitigate misunderstandings. 2. Impact of political rhetoric on space missions. The intersection of politics and space exploration will likely become more pronounced as private companies like SpaceX become integral to national space programs. Political leaders may leverage space narratives for their agendas. This could lead to a more politicized environment where decisions regarding space missions are scrutinized under a political lens, potentially influencing funding, public support, and international collaboration. 3. Evolution of spacecraft and mission design. the challenges faced by the CST-100 Starliner and the subsequent extension of the astronauts' mission demonstrate the necessity for rapid innovation and contingency planning in spacecraft design. Future missions may incorporate more flexible designs that allow for extended stays or quick adaptations to unforeseen circumstances, ensuring astronauts can be accommodated safely and effectively. For public engagement in space advocacy, the incident illustrates the role of public figures in shaping perceptions of space missions. We can expect an increase in public engagement initiatives from space agencies to educate and inform the public about the complexities of space missions. Efforts may focus on demystifying astronaut experiences and emphasizing the collaborative nature of space exploration to foster public support. 5. Operational integration of private space companies. As private companies like SpaceX take on larger roles in crewed missions, there will be a need for more integrated operational frameworks. This might involve establishing clear guidelines on the responsibilities of private companies versus governmental agencies during missions, particularly in crisis communication and decision-making processes. 6. International collaboration and standards. The complexities of space operations may prompt a push for international standards concerning astronaut safety and mission protocols. Future missions could involve collaborative frameworks that ensure all participating nations and organizations have aligned protocols, reducing the risks of miscommunication and enhancing operational efficiency. 7. Crisis management protocols. Given the potential for future miscommunication, agencies may develop enhanced crisis management protocols that outline steps to be taken in the event of public confusion or political intervention. These protocols could involve immediate fact-checking processes and a designated spokesperson to address misinformation swiftly. 8. Shift in space policy and leadership. As political figures engage more actively in space discussions, we may witness shifts in space policy influenced by public opinion and political narratives. Future administrations could prioritize space exploration as a means of national pride and technological leadership, which may lead to increased funding and more ambitious projects. 9. Sustainability and ethical considerations. As the presence of humans in space becomes more routine, discussions around sustainability and ethical considerations will intensify. Future missions will likely incorporate sustainability practices focusing on minimizing waste and ensuring that space exploration does not harm extraterrestrial environments. 10. Impact on astronaut training and preparation. The experience of astronauts like Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore will influence future training programs emphasizing adaptability and crisis management. Astronaut training may evolve to better prepare candidates for extended stays in space, including psychological resilience training and emergency protocols for unexpected mission extensions. Conclusion. The recent incident involving Trump's comments on the ISS astronauts serves as a microcosm of the broader challenges and opportunities facing the future of space exploration. By addressing communication gaps, enhancing operational protocols, and navigating the political landscape, space agencies and private companies can work towards a more coordinated and effective approach to human spaceflight. As we look ahead, the interplay of technology, politics, and public engagement will shape the trajectory of human exploration beyond Earth, paving the way for a new era of collaboration and discovery in space.